You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of Woo! Whoa, welcome my friends to a show that seemingly apparently never ends. Yeah, well, see about that. I am your host, Eugene S. With the S standing for Surly. As a relative called me this week, sour. To which I responded, I got a fucking sunny disposition. So surly, sour, or sunny, you choose. This is round number 265. Fourth win. A discussion on UFC 212. Shitload of behind the scenes gossip that I'm glad to bring to you because I haven't heard anybody else bring it. Naturally. Inside the fence. From Brazil. Scuttlebutt, scuttlebutt, scuttlebutt. But first, Stigmata. I'm on my way back to nowhere. I took my time, but I could not see too clear. I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. I'm on my way back to there, boy. A weird payback and full, always nothing. Oh, my friends. This is a good one. This is a juicy one. Yeah, you know, everybody, you know what we aim for? And this is why there's been no nomination. You know, you know how terrorists, so-called terrorists, get people? Just like magicians do. Baboosh, something happens here, and everybody's attention runs over here. Everybody runs over here. And then there's another one, gagagaboosh. Or a rabbit out of the hat in a more benign example of a rabbit. You know? But if you've ever been in a situation where that kind of crap is going on, like I don't want to Donna Shalala myself on my own show, but you remember when I was telling you about being in Tokyo and they were selling clearly fucking calm, bunko, straight up, selling little dancing figurines for businessmen at the Tokyo Dome who were on some convention, which is why I was there. I knew there was a setup, didn't know what the setup was, or like my friend in Tel Aviv, the guy who was the three-card Monte dealer said when I asked him to show me how it was done, because usually nobody who knows anything about life does this. It's the same with the UFC. It's the same with this MMA thing that we love forever. However, listen, the guy came to jiu-jitsu today, said, hey, where's your girlfriend? We broke up. And I asked the question I always ask, who broke up with who? And if any other answer other than I broke up with her or I broke up with him means you got dumped. So, yeah, who broke up with who? Well, yeah, okay, you got dumped. Well, you see, it's kind of, yeah, you got dumped. And the guy said, well, I started, but, you know, there are girls who have dumped me thinking that I would play that, relationship TV show game. And I keep calling. And I go, okay. You're supposed to call it. What, in some fucking movie you saw that? You say you don't want to go to the Eugene S. Robinson party, and I say, okay. Or like somebody once said to me, I can't tell if you really don't give a shit or whether you're acting like you don't give a shit. I go, is there a difference? My point is very specifically, in this case, there's going to come a time, like Kilgore said in Apocalypse Now, when this war is over. That's what I spent the whole last week's show saying. There might come a time when MMA was just something that we used to do. But until then, let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Specifically in this instance, UFC 212. So now you got there's been an explosion, UFC 212, and I'm reading everybody, and I'm reading it, and they're all running over. They're all running over to the usual, you know, they go from the fight to the post-fight presser, and then they do their shows. This is not how it happens here in Knuckle Up. Go to the fight, check out other people's shows, and then I start picking on sources. I start picking on spies in camps. I start picking on guys who were there. I start picking on sources inside the organization. And what did you think about, and I got stuff. That's how I end up with stuff. Now you could say, Eugene, you're peddling fake news. To which I was like, all right, you know, I'm a guy who does a show. I'm a guy who does his show in his underwears. Take me seriously or not? But I've seen things. I've seen things. So let's get started. MMA, UFC 212. Let me get my little tote sheet. Yeah. I wrote it on a sexy girl card. She's selling something. I don't know what it is because I wrote all over it, but I'm guessing it's these pants. High performance meets high fashion. Live Rio sportswear. Flexible four-way stretch. One size fits most. Moisture wicking and fast drying. Breathable, durable, and strong. Anti-odor and antimicrobial. UPF sun protection up to UPF 50. Made with color fast so pants will never fade or bleed. You know what? I'm glad Live Rio is making clothes. But I'm much more excited about what's scribbled here on the card. And we're going to start at the top because you'd be kind of pissed off if I spent a lot of time talking about my failed Johnny Eduardo pick and didn't get to the other scuttlebutt juicy fucking gossip that I got. I'm choking to death. So to tie off the guy who broke up with his girlfriend, he's like, man, I'm too young to, you know, I think she'd be happy getting married, but, you know, the girl before her father wanted her to dump me because, like, you know, she didn't want to go out with a Mexican guy. And this chick, I think she'd been happy to get married, but I'm too young. I want to experience things like threesomes and everybody kind of goes, what? And then somebody says, don't do like Eugene does, the threesome thing. Like, what are you talking about? You said, you know, you could be on record as saying you prefer guy, girl, guy instead of girl, guy, girl. Shit, that's because you've never done this. You and two women, that's a lot of work. A lot of work. Got one penis, a lot of work. Everybody, whole room waiting on you. Whereas two guys, it's like you can hang loose, hang back. As long as the guy's not doing the rear end sneak, you're fine. You're watching a movie, you're in a movie. You could do nothing. You could watch sports. The best of both worlds. He didn't see it that way. But that's the thing. He's a homophobe. Oh, you don't want a penis in your mouth? You must be a homophobe. Nah. As long as look, you got other dudes over there. Then you get these guys sometimes who want to high five you, low five you. But I digress. Let's get to the card. Holloway and Aldo. Well, you see, this side of the equation is Kid Nate. See my little scribble? And he said that he would pay $25 to see that fight. You see, he wrote Aldo right there. And you see this, or he picked Aldo. And you see on this side of it is my picks. And I picked Holloway. Because I didn't trust Aldo's head. I just didn't trust it. Didn't trust it. Why? Because, and when I say head, I have to explain that I'm not talking about, there are two types of heads. There's a Chris Lieben head where the guy's maybe a little punchy. We're talking about stuff in the physical realm. I'm not talking about physical realm stuff. I'm talking about stuff in the soul realm, the spiritual realm. realm. I'm talking about a guy who's worried about getting seats for his sister, his cousin, and I'm worried about the guy who's got the wishes and dreams of a whole nation behind him. I'm worrying about the guy who's trying to shake a loss. I'm worrying about a guy who's trying to shake the only loss that anybody's ever been thinking about. I'm talking about a guy who's now 25-3, but it's the 3 that are weighing heavily on him. The last 2 that are weighing the heaviest on him. Guy who's not going to come back. And I'm reading Victor, the bloody elbow. And he's like, oh, this is, you know, we're not going to dig any graves before our time. I go, no, that's not it. You remember in The Matrix? Sorry, my leg is killing me. So I'm moving my leg and the light's moving. In The Matrix, where they have the descending series of code, you know, this is fucking binary code, and it's just dribbling down like this. I have something sort of like this. And if envision, if you will, instead of the carrot that they use when you're doing code, you have triangles, or not even triangles, arrows. And our life cycle is this arrow, all right, arrowhead more specifically. This is not fantasy stuff. This is actual real stuff. Here is the beginning. You can say, well, linear. No, linear, not linear. The beginning. As you increase, as your cells divide, you become a human being, right? Apex. There is a point at which you will reach your apex. There is a definitive point. There is a definitive point beyond a shadow of a doubt where you will reach something that will be called your best. Spiritually, psychically, genetically, and any fucking other adverb you want to add in there. There is a point. Do better. How do I know? I'm 54 fucking years old. That's how I know. The objective, insofar as possible, when you look at it, is to take all of these different strands, the spiritual, the physical, all these different strands, and to play them out as long as possible. Even if you hit your apex point, you don't want an arrow like this. You maybe want something like this. You know, those guys who go to college when they're 13 years old? That's like this. When do they do their best work? In their early 20s. Powerlifters, a little bit different. Powerlifters don't start to mature until they're older. Why do you think the world's strongest man competition? You don't have a lot of 20-year-olds in that competition. You do have a lot of men in their late 30s. Different scales. Physical, mental, different scales. But in aggregate, in average, what you would hope is that you get a steep climb doesn't benefit anybody. A guy going to college at 13 doesn't help himself or anyone around him. 18-year-old girls don't want to go out with 13-year-old guys. Don't want to have sex with 13-year-old boys unless they're a special type of guy. Socially, it's kind of, there we go. Socially, it's kind of a catastrophe. They had a video the other day online of a baby. I don't know if you remember that movie, It's Alive. And is based on a story, sort of based on the Alfred Hitchcock story. God damn it. Sort of based on the Alfred Hitchcock story where the guy is like, what if a baby was born like horse babies were born, with full physical faculties, and angry? Angry because you're taking it from the only home it had ever known. It's a great story. The father keeps finding the baby in the crib sweating, and toys are left weird places, and the mother gets stabbed to death. Creepy fucking story. They had this baby online, and the baby was walking. Now I think babies in the womb just kick, but this baby was walking. So maybe you have an upswing that's like this, physically, mentally, but that you mature at different rates. It doesn't change the fact that there is a distinct point where you will never get better. Jose Aldo has hit that point. If you are a fighter, you're acutely attuned to that point, unless your name is Chris Weidman or Vitor Belfort, who Feels like a kid again and has 5 more fights in him. Scuttlebutt warning number 1. Nate Marquardt was paid money to not go to the ground with Vitor Belfort. Don't think so? How come they only went to the ground once, 3 rounds? Does that seem usual to you? Does that seem standard? I'm not just making this up. I was told from somebody on the inside. Is it a work, Eugene? No, it's not a work. You leave the guy feeling like he's a man, meaning like if you can beat him up, beat him on the feet. But if you choose to not go to the ground, it's 20 G's extra in the envelope for you. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying somebody told me it's true. Is that fake news, Eugene? Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Sometimes fiction is stranger than truth. The truest thing I ever wrote was a piece of fiction. It certainly answers questions about why a guy who's never fought like that fought like that. He has become the modern seasoned. That's a word they use now. Seasoned. He's a seasoned. He's like Papis Martinez, the Tachi Palace fighter, who I think was given works his whole entire career. And then when he fought his first fight outside there, he's like, dude didn't win that one. Sort of shocked. So Jose Aldo hits that apex point, and now he's carrying the dreams of a nation, and he's not sure he can do this. Not sure. Weak in the head. Weak in the head, believe me, is not a bad thing. We're all human. We get nervous. But like the song Bernadette says, how are they going to control, by Sam and Dave, how are they going to control you when they can't control themselves? The biggest part of martial arts is control. If, like Ty Williams said, if we can play as strong in the 4th quarter as we do the 1st quarter, we're going to win 100% of our games. He is talking about the downside of that arrow in a smaller context. If Jose Aldo could have made, I mean, the thing is, he's a quiet guy. It doesn't mean he's a calm guy. There's a difference. And people say, oh, it's just, there was some version of Holloway rope-a-dope. No, I think Holloway went in and he said, I've been watching this guy since I was 17. I think he was struck. Yeah, I think he was starstruck a little bit, like you know, like when I was on the Oxbow tour, stopped in Brighton and was rolling with dude. I don't know that he wants me to mention his name. Let's call him the K-Man. And at one point we're rolling, he just stops in the middle and goes, this is kind of crazy. I go, what do you mean it's crazy? He's like, I watched Knuckle Up, man. And now the cat from Knuckle Up is, well, he didn't finish the sentence, but I think he probably meant the cat from Knuckle Up is like eye gouging me and putting his fucking elbow on my throat and doing dickish, dirty jujitsu shit because the guy from Knuckle Up is as much of an asshole in person as he is. I think that's how he really meant to finish the sentence. Sorry, I got a 3 sorry policy. I just stopped. So Jose Aldo is a man. He's got all these things he's thinking about. Listen, the road up is not fraught with too much concern. Holloway is discovering that. And we can forgive Holloway for the misty things he's saying. I'm going to run it. I own it. You know what? When I got my belt from Grappler's Quest, big dookie old belt, I opened that shit in the post office because I told the guys what it was. Everybody from the post office kind of got quiet. There was a line. And they watched me open it. And when I pulled that belt out, they all cheered. Everybody. Even like, this is a Stanford post office. People like didn't even know what, yay. I put it on. And I walked out of that fucking post office with my belt on. And I kept walking in the street. And I thought to myself, you know what? Some people will see me and they think I'm a dick. And I said, you know, those people, I don't care about them. It's Popeye. People who have belts like this know how I feel. And those who don't, why do I give a fuck? Holloway is entitled to talk crazy now. If not now, when? The guy has an 11-fight winning streak against what they call what the fuck is it? Hold on. Again, a rogue's, you know, a killer's row, a rogue something. What is that Joe Rogan's always talking about? Hold on. He's earned the right, and it's short-lived. It's tough. I think it's tough. You don't know how long he's going to be there. So he woke up. So Aldo comes in, and Aldo, more than anybody, if you live in this fleshy prison, you're attuned to certain things. People are like, why didn't he kick? Why didn't he kick? Well, he broke his foot. Remember? You ever break anything? Huh? You ever hurt anything? You ever get anything injured? I'm so superstitious about injuries. I don't like to talk about them. I don't like to remember them. I don't like to see videos of me. There's a video when I was at the Worlds and my arm went out. Don't want to think about it. Don't want to. If I know a guy who's been injured, I want to hear roughly how it happened. I won't touch him. Superstitious. There's a point at which we had Dr. Steve Ballinger on where he talked about right after Corey, that cat Corey, the one who's dead now, broke his leg in the same way that Anderson Silva had broken his leg. And he said, you know, if you're a professional athlete, again, it's about tuning the machine to the point of almost total failure, and that's the highest point of your perfection. You know, you run a 4-minute and 50-second mile, you run a 4-minute and 45-second mile, you could hit complete catastrophe. Jose Aldo lives in this body, knows where it is, and knows maybe sooner than the rest of us that was behind him. So what he's looking at right now is how to chart the remaining portion of this arrow. Ideally, we all want it here. With this bottom part here being the beginning of your life, and this over here being somewhat the end. You want to be that old guy who's got on cool clothes and who's, you know, who's still throwing frisbees out of freeforming here. I was going to say something else, you know, but I decided to keep it out of the gutter for once, kind of. So people say, yo, Jose Aldo, he's not over. He's over. You don't understand the psychology. In other words, once you realize that you're on this portion, you know, I at one point thought I was going to continue life as a competitive bodybuilder. That didn't happen. I was doing MMA and fighting these amateur fights. I had some thought that I could keep doing that. That's not going to happen. It's like that skit in old Saturday Night Live. Oh, we can. That's something else we're never going to do. Jose Aldo probably at this point has zero fucking interest, financial or professional, in doing anything other than being clever about managing this portion of the exit. Perfection, exit. Has no interest in what you want. Do you want to go from 25-3 to 25-7? I don't know where dude lives. Where they talking about Karolina Kowalkiewicz? She got an apartment. Jesus Christ. Yeah, but you know what? It's like that guy who won. It was an old British comedy skit where they find this guy, and it turns out that he's a homeless guy now. But shit that he wrote is on the bestseller list for 10 weeks. And they said, we've got some money for you. It's like, oh, he's living in a refrigerator box by Westminster Abbey. And they're like, oh, great. And he's like, what? And they give it to him, and he looks at it, he goes, 5 pounds? And he's like, 5 pounds. 5 pounds. 5 pounds. And he's happy. You know, at a certain point, man, happy to get what you get. Got an apartment out of it.
Woods, which is how you pronounce L-O-D-Z, because it's got the L with the thing through it in Polish. Woods, Poland. You got an apartment on Woods, Poland. That's like owning a house other places. Many people do not have apartments, can't afford them in Poland. That's a big deal. She, with her money from that, you got herself an apartment. She can rent that shit out now for the rest of forever. Changes her financial prospects for the rest of her life. Presumably she wants to stay in Woods. I don't know where Jose Aldo lives, but I'm telling you that Jose Aldo right now, at this point, he was hoping that he could pull some magic. A lot of shit in his head. A lot of shit in his head. So it's almost unnecessarily pejorative for me to say he has got a weak head, because half of you couldn't handle the kind of shit that's going on in this guy's head. Not easy. Not easy. So, and harder even, stick around and be a gatekeeper. What the fuck is that about? You know, you're not going to hear any Lost Battalion talk from him. You're not. You're not going to hear any Lost Battalionists talk from him. Dude knows exactly where the fuck he is. The question is, does he want to remain there? And what do you do? What do you do? Do you stop at 25-3? You know what I do? I do what the Diaz's have done. And Holloway is the exact opposite. He's like, you guys are out there are pussies for complaining about this and complaining about that. Just go out and fight. Everybody's holding out for money fights. I don't give a shit about that. Ooh, that's a smart move. Sincerity is everything, my friend. And once you can fake that, you got it made in the shade. Doesn't care about money. At the same time, I'm begging for a $50,000 performance bonus. Got 11 in a row. Got somebody like Gegard Mousasi. It was like, man, their offer was not even close. What is that? You know what that means in a UFC context? Not even close. Not even close. He's not gotten around to, it's 5 pounds. He hasn't gotten to that. He's still looking at 5 pounds. Nah. And if he's running any kind of team, he knows exactly who he's paying, how much he's paying, what he's paying them for. It's like, man, he's already done the math. Done the math. Oh, 50 grand for this fight? Taxes leaves me 40. Pay for the thing, that I got to pay 20. That leaves me approximately $4,000 until September. Can you live on $4,000 for that period of time? What the fuck are you eating, if so? Holloway is high from the win. I called him to win because I said, you know, you got a guy, John Jones was never as good as when they kept putting him up against when they tried to kill him. When they tried to slow the march to perfection, they couldn't do it. Because if guys are tuned in, they realize out of all the moments, these are congealing into the moment. They fuck up after. Why do they fuck up after that? They fuck up after that because precisely for the same reason that the smartest move right now for Aldo would be to go Diaz and go, look, you know, come to me if you got something special, but I'm not hanging around trying to be your fucking gatekeeper boy. I'm not doing that. Who's a phenom? You want to slow their roll? Put him in against me. I'll be glad to try that. I'll be glad to try my hand at that. But I'm not working my way back. I'm not trying to go up to anything. Say, bring on McGregor. Yeah, I'm fuck it. For my peace of mind, I gotta try that again. At least gotta get out of the first round with dude. I need that period in my head and a downward slide. It's a smart move. Not, you know, money fights versus not. For the Diaz's, people like, the Diaz's, they live in Stockton. It's like living in Woods, Poland. They live quite nicely on the money they've made. You know? Once you buy a house and you don't buy an expensive house, you can build stuff onto it. The idea is to buy a cheap house, build stuff onto it so that your property tax is low. And rent rooms out to people. You don't have to pay any real whatever you owe on the mortgage, don't have to pay, or you could buy it outright. So at least when it comes at once or twice a year, you got to pay for your property tax. You got it from the rent that's been paid. What do you need? Somebody asked me the other day if you're a happy guy. If I was a happy guy, I go, I've had a fantastic life. The number of people who, when they text me, that I go, God damn it, is winnowed down to very few. And one was a guy I was talking to. Happy guy, sunny fucking disposition. I could have more money, but other than that, knock on wood, I'm doing fine. It's all about managing the slide, the exit slide. Entry, you know, what is it? The escape velocity for your entry and the exit slide. You know, he's done from the point of view that where his future is, it is not nearly as interesting as where his future could be for him. So if he's a smart guy, and I think he is, he puts himself where his future could be. And that might be running his own place. That could be hanging out with his kids. But it doesn't include sticking around trying to fucking milk a dream because he's got no cash. One thing I didn't count on when I was talking about MMAARP, MARP, was the idea that Chuck Liddell, like he's trying to do, gin up another fight with Tito, as entertaining as that might seem when Tito says, oh, bro, I don't need the money, but I'm glad to loan you some if you need it. As entertaining as that smack is, in reality is different, and you'll see what I mean. It's different with Matt Hughes. I watch Matt Hughes get beaten up any day of the week. He's in his 60s and 70s. I'm paying for that. But Chuck, nah, bro. Yo, grab a seat. Music stopped playing. Grab a seat. So Holloway, let him have his under ordinary circumstances, Lost Battalion moments with the I'm here, I'm ready, I'm good. He was saying things that were dangerous and got Lost Battalion alert. But there's only one time when you could, because the sky's the limit. You have 11 wins. You beat the fucking 25 win champion. And if I'm Max Holloway, I go home, kiss my wife, my kids, and I start training for McGregor because that's going to come up again. Don't think so? Yeah. You know what? When McGregor finishes embarrassing himself with Mayweather and collects his $20, $30, $40 million and then enjoys that shit for a couple months, buys houses for everybody, and sits around and goes, what am I going to do for the next 50 years? Yeah. Yeah, what, like Chuck Norris? When was the last time you saw a Chuck Norris movie? Forget about it. So this was a great fight. I picked Holloway. Kid Nate picked Aldo. I should make him pay the $25 he thought he would pay to me. It was a worthy fight, and there were no surprises to me. One of the commenters called it the third round. That's what it was. He was starstruck the first, beating up on him. He was like, it's like that one time I was in competition with a guy from my team. We're going to have some fun. And Eric was fucking trying to kill me. And like halfway through, I realized, oh, Jesus, yo, bro really wants to win this from the guy we trained with. And like, who gives a fuck? Sometimes in practice, I beat him. He beats me, but he's going all out. I was shocked. And then it was over. He outpointed me. I was like, okay, I got you. Had that same moment, turned it on, second round. And by the third round, you could see that the wind and the conditioning was against him. Ring rust, whatever you want to call it, having to get mom a seat, and the sneaking, disgusting idea in your head. Not the first one, but the first one that fight. I could fucking lose this. Then it's done. Somebody said, what could the Nazis have done to win to beat Russia if they had attacked in winter? Trucks, tanks can drive through snow. It's the mud that's a problem. Something simple. Get him to hang until the third round. The guy starts breathing a little heavy. You got him. Everybody watching saw it. Everybody knew. He didn't have enough. What he had in that first round was not enough, and right away that's the point where dude starts to think, maybe I don't, and that snowballs. Starts small, ends up big with you protesting. You know what I counted? What did I say on Twitter? What, 32, 36 unanswered blows? Complain all you want, bro. McCarthy gets shot and can't continue reffing the rest of that fight. You're not surviving. You survived that round. You're not surviving the next round. Oh, I know anything could happen. How? You're not kicking. Even though fucking Holloway is only a purple belt, I was like, yo, bro, it's fucking strong. Purple belt, man. I saw him on the video doing shit that I'm not doing that shit. But then I figure I'm not a tiny guy, so I mean, I know how to do it. I just don't. I choose not to. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm fucking around. So Gudela and Kavakovich. All right. Scuttlebutt alert number 2. Gudela. Scuttlebutt inside the fence. Maybe she should be drug tested. No, it was a solid win. Not taking that away. Kavakovich should have known you're going to go against a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. They don't give those belts out for nothing. Not for nothing, you have a black belt. As luck would have it, that day, yesterday, exactly what we went over, we were drilling. This is the trick, right? I'm backpacking you, and this is the trick. I protect this hand. This is the hand that's by your neck. I protect it with this hand. If you don't know shit, you grab this hand with both your hands to pull it down, leaving the choking hand to come around and choke the fuck out of you. So there are a couple of tells. If a person doesn't know what they're doing, they'll go like this. And then you peel that choking hand off and just keep doing it. If they go like this, they know what they're doing. Kavakovich gives it back, puts the 2 hands here, and pulls. What she's supposed to do is pinch the weak arm, get the thumbs in here to the strong arm, and push. Protecting the neck. Didn't do that. Got choked the fuck out. Out of all things you could have been working on prior to the Gudela fight, she's solid on the ground, Kavakovich, but you can't slow somebody. It means something when somebody's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. However, that's not the scuttlebutt that I'm getting. Bonafide, what the fuck is going on with the sign here? Jesus. Okay. So the scuttlebutt that I'm getting is that she's not natural. Allegedly, the allegations that are being made have to do with performance-enhancing drugs. Deeper into it, I say, hey, USADA, the rules, and the guys I'm talking to inside, they look at me and they're like, it's Brazil, man. It's Brazil. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. It's Brazil. So I don't say that things go any other way. I don't even say that if she was on performance enhancing drugs, this influenced the fight. Well, what? Come on, no. Weak or strong, she slapped on that rear naked choke. She said, well, she would have been able to survive the earlier on that. Then come on, just stop. Gudela won fair and square. I picked Kavakovich, home team. Kid Nate he picked Gudela. So now we're 1-1, even though we only bet $10 a piece on the Kavakovich Gudela fight. Since I picked Holloway, I'm $15 up on Kid Nate. We did that thing with money again. All right. Belfort, talking crazy. I call, if you'll follow my live tweets during the fight, I call bullshit on the unanimous decision. Scuttlebutt, I already tipped my hand. The scuttlebutt was that Nate Marquardt allegedly was something extra in the envelope for keeping the fight standing, not on the ground. I'm not saying that Belfort knows this. I'm tending to think he doesn't, given that crazy talk about 5 more fights and feeling like a kid again. But that shit was close. Not unanimous, close. You don't think so? You think I'm full of shit? Really? How come that doesn't sound completely crazy then? There are other fights I could say that about it would sound crazy. This one, not so much. I picked Bambosi because he's from the Bronx. I had to go local guy, and I love this guy's style. If you didn't come out, and this is why I picked the guy. If you didn't come out loving this guy's style, the big King Kong bombs dropped on him. You know, all that shit. The Keith Jardine-esque anti-rhythms. Bambosi was great. Borrachino, also known as, somebody compared him to Ricardo Arona. And I go, that's dead on the money. That's exactly fucking right. Arona, big boy. I compare him to Eric Silva, and the guy goes, no, Arona. First thing I start tweeting out is like, this fight is drug tested, right? Right? Borrachina. I was corrected. My Brazilian friends, China, something like that. Bro, you gonna fight in America? You might have something else to deal with. You're gonna fight in America, my friend. But I found him to be distinctly unimpressive. It's like Chris Rock said, you know, niggas, they want credit for stuff they're supposed to do. He's a big guy. He's supposed to be physically imposing. I mean, anything he's supposed to be or do, by virtue of his size, you should fully expect that he's going to be or do that. Did I see any flashes? The wife is home. Were you supposed to see flashes of brilliance? Did I see any? Nope. Big guy. Barely won this fight. I had to go Zapruder on it. Since they said, oh, he did an inside leg trip. I was like, bullshit. Bambosi fell. He had the presence of mind to cover him. But out of that fight, who won that fight? Yeah, Borrachino won that fight. However, who do you want to see fight again? That's the winner of the fight. He's undefeated. Great. At 185, what is that going to mean? Well, it means that the extended stay for the extended stayer in the Lost Battalion he's got a pretty steep, long time firewood pile. I'm not saying the guy's easy. I'm just saying that, you know, and his cardio is shit like that. You need to feed those muscles. Nah. Borrachino looks good, looks like he's going to be a killer, got a great record, but I'm not impressed with the technique. I am not impressed. I'm more impressed with Bambosi. However, I picked Yancey. I picked Yancey over Silva. No, yeah. Is that right? I can't pick. It doesn't matter. Kid Nate picked somebody else. And I won. So now I have 2 down. Actually, I have 3 down and 2 that I was right on, including the main card. And I picked Moraes, and he was wrong. I picked Shoeface, and he won. And I listened to that fat bastard Leopoldo coach, Dream Crusher Leopoldo Serral for Johnny Eduardo. And I even talked Kid Nate in it, and Johnny Eduardo lost. But we did pick Shoeface, and Shoeface won, and that was great. There were other fights, but I don't have a lot of time, and I want to tie off. I said I promised scuttlebutt on the bust loose with the 4 scuttlebutts. The one was what's happening. The one was back on the poster. So let's see. I had Scuttlebutt. Let me look. I had the Goodella Scuttlebutt. I had the Nate Marquardt Scuttlebutt. I had the Borachino Scuttlebutt. That's 3. What was the 4th Scuttlebutt that I had? God, it's gonna drive me crazy. There was a 4th. All right. Well, look. You know what? Yeah, if those of you who are paying attention to me on Twitter, when I think of whatever the 4th scuttlebutt was, it's gonna drive me insane. Sorry. When I think about what the 4th scuttlebutt was, I will let you know. Yeah, that works. Because I can't think of it now. So UFC 212, and I want to tie this off just a bit by addressing Knuckle Up round number 266, and then I'm going to end the show. Eugene, in light of the fact that this was an effective delivery vehicle for the drug MMA. Roller coaster. I'm over this shit. For any expect this would be a drag of a fight. I don't expect that some of the fights coming up are going to be drags to the fight. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't shake my conviction from Knuckle Up 266. Last week's show, we do the shows in descending order. That essentially you have a civil war in the UFC, and you got the alpha class, people who even if it were to burn up tomorrow are still okay, the bald one. You've got the C class, or what is the Zeta class. These are people who, even if it does well, don't have any hope of really coming out to it. So they're the ones sitting around the office secretly trying to fuck shit up. That's who they are. Trying to fuck shit up. Not aggressively. Maybe they're different degrees. You know, if somebody's asking them, like you're asked at work routinely, to bring an A game, these are the people. You know, I'm not bringing an A game. I'm just going to bring a whatever game. I'm going to bring C game, D game, F game. I don't know, whatever. Had that job, and that guy, they told the guy, your toaster keeps shorting out. Don't bring it in the office. So the guy takes the fucking toaster because he likes to heat his Pop-Tarts in the morning, and he hides it under his desk. Puts a Pop-Tart in, forgets about it, catches fire, and the office starts to burn down. And I'm sitting there watching it. Nobody else has seen it. If you're that Zeta class, people who, even if the company does really well, will not benefit, you don't give a shit. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm doing a calculation. How much time will I get off if the whole office burns down and the flames are now 2 feet? I can see the smoke. I know what's happening. The flames are licking up the desk. Now it's 3 feet. Now the flames are 4 feet high, which is about 2 feet off above his desk. And I'm not saying anything. I was a young man. That's a long time ago. I'm not going to say which company it was. Walks in. There you go. Oh, my God. The office is burning. They don't think the office is burning. Why is Eugene just sitting there? And I go, oh, my God. I'll get the fire extinguisher. Now, I'm getting the fire extinguisher not because I intend to extinguish the fire. Fahrenheit 451, I intend to act confused about the fire extinguisher so that I can delay putting out the fire as long as possible, and then maybe off. Look, that was malicious. Sitting there watching it was also a level of malice involved. But there are people like this in corporations all over who stand no chance. What is that line from the song by the Adolescents? Trash beyond belief to show the kids don't want to learn. This is a problem, the persistent underclass in America. We have 7% class mobility in America. Nobody fucking talks about this. You can talk about fat shaming, slut shaming, you can talk about racism, you can talk about all these other things before anybody will come close to talking about with 7% class mobility. That means 93% of the people in the lower class have nothing to look forward to in their future but low-wage jobs forever, and that fucking sucks. At that point, you're sitting there watching toasters burn up America. You don't care. You don't care. So that's the third category. Well, I split the categories because there are those people at WME and there are those people in the UFC. Haven't been laid off, but don't stand to get a raise and promotion anytime soon. They don't give a fuck. Say, hey, why don't we do this and do that? And you rush. If you're in that beta class, people who really stand a chance of making it. So you're really pushing, you're really fighting, trying to improve things. As soon as you run off to do something you think will be really cool and exciting, that guy's sitting behind you going like this. Hey, he could go fuck himself. The UFC, WME war, civil war, I have no idea who's going to win it. But as usual, I like to be on the winning side. It doesn't look like, by virtue of Knuckle Up, that I will be in the alpha class. There will be no $36 million Malibu beach houses for Eugene S. Robinson, despite the fact that I might like one. Not so much Malibu, which I think will end up in the ocean soon, but maybe a room maybe a house that where the dog farts in the kitchen, everybody has to leave the house. Maybe something a little larger than that would be nice. You could add this to the lifelong videos of Eugene S. Robinson complaining about cash. Okay, but I'm not in the Zeta group either, right? Because I love the sport. I love the sport. I'm trying to bring you the truth because I want you to understand where you are in time instead of waking up and thinking, shit, I thought I was alpha. I thought I was enjoying the journey to improve the nature of sports competition, embrace it wholeheartedly, both hands, and instead I'm fucked up. I'm buying garbage. I've been buying garbage. I've been shooting up this garbage. And you get resentful. And that's how fans become ex-fans. I have no idea, but I'm watching for signs and signals, rhymes and riddles, and they exist. You know what? I'll give you a prime example. Reebok made to sweeten the sales pot. Reebok comes in and gives $10 million. It's a pretty good advertising deal, pretty good sponsorship deal. I think I saw Nissan or Toyota on the turnbuckle at the fight. How much did they pay for that? I saw Budweiser. No drunken Budweiser reps. I saw Budweiser in the pre-fight square, whatever they call it, prep square. You know, everything can be renegotiated. Sign a deal with Showtime for $100 million. Open it up to other sponsorship. Cancel the Reebok deal. Didn't meet expectations. We kicked them back the rest of the money. Why? Because we got $100 million. You can't really go back on a contract like that without making future sponsors feel worried. But it's a good message to send, and they should send it. If you pay, we'll play. Success breeds quiet. This is what every fucking dictator fails to figure out. Hitler had another problem. His version of success was at the end of a bayonet. Can't really negotiate with that. Where the Nazis did best, you know, there was a proper distribution of cash. Though it was stolen from people who were deserving, not deserving of having it stolen from them, people who owned it, rightful owners. The degree to which a mafia succeeds is the degree to which it spreads the wealth. The degree to which capitalism succeeds is the degree to which it spreads the wealth. ability do you think was in pre-revolutionary France? You think it was 7% or 93%? It's hard to keep them down on the farm when they have an understanding that they got to be on the farm until they fucking die. The only way that WME saves this is by making bigger deals faster. Years on this Reebok deal, I'm sitting there watching them come in this terrible looking gear, and I want to see the back of Belford's. I want to see Belford's back to see if they spelled it Beffler. He's like, oh, Eugene, that was old. You know, we let it go. They spelled Giblert's name wrong, Gilbert. Right. That's right. That's right. Let it go. I would if they improved. And that's fundamentally what needs to happen with the UFC. Those of us sitting in the back seat of the car need to feel largely that the people in the front seat of the car have their hands on their steering wheel and not their penises. Right now, I'm not entirely sure are on the steering wheel and indeed not on their penises or on each other's penises, which is fine. I just don't want you doing that when you're driving the car. So we've got some great fights coming up. On Tuesday night, we've got If I Did It. We'll talk about the PR kerfuffles. It's me, Alexi Ald, and Kid Nate. And then on Wednesday morning, if things work right, we'll have Care Don't Care preview, and we'll talk about the fights coming up. And I go into it with a free and open spirit, a willing open spirit. But I'm still looking for signs on the periphery that people who paid $4.2 billion up on that because that's not their money. If it was their money, different things. But when you start to deal with investors' money, hey, man, if you're in that alpha class, what could hurt you? People are like amoebas. They move closer to things that feel good and further away from things that don't feel good. And if I'm a happy guy, like I started out the show saying, and I do not have 300 million, I imagine that if I had 300 million, I might be super fucking happy. And the concerns of people who don't have 300 million would be very, very far away from my concerns. But you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. Got to pay attention. I don't know. Right now, none of us know. By the end of 2017, you know, it makes sense. I tell you, the fight place where I went to watch a fight cranked up how much they charge. Usually it's 10. They cranked up to 15 a person. $30. That's a stiff ride since my ass is not sitting in Rio watching the fight. But you know why they did that? They did that because watching the fight, by my estimation, there were only 8 of us. Now look, if they have the choice between 8 of us sitting there watching the fight, maybe getting drinks, maybe not. Can I have another water, please? Yes, water. Yes. Water, not bottled water. No, not with bubbles. No, just from the top. Oh, there's a cup fee. Or maybe you can just pour it in my hands. Now, look, you know, it's good for them. They don't really open till 10. It's a way to make some money in the meantime. But eventually, it's going to come around that the entry fee will be like $200, and it'll only be me and the wife paying it because there'll be nobody else there. Looking at boots in the ground, asses in the seat. Good fight. But you couldn't convince more than 8 people at UFC 212. Winner! Anyway, show's over. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, at Eugene S. Robinson on Twitter. If I could think of what the 4th piece of scuttlebutt was, I will let you know. Right now, I cannot think of what it was. It'll come to me, though. Yeah, you know, that's it. I am aged and infirm, so the memory is going. So, but anyway, we'll see you Tuesday. Go. What does Kid Nate say? If you go to YouTube, give us a thumbs up. This is my version of thumbs up. Thumbs up. Yeah, about that. That's what the Italians say. You know what they say? It's like this. You know what this means? It means tall man, small penis. A short man, a long penis. I don't know. I'm neither tall nor short. So what does that mean? Anyway, I give you a little Sicilian love. This is round number 265. I'm Eugene S. Robinson, your host. Like Kid Nate says, go to YouTube, give us a thumbs up. You can just follow at Twitter through at Eugene S. Robinson. I've opened the floodgates there, so you don't have to. But on Instagram, Mr. Sleep 3, if you have no post and you send me an invite, I assume you're a spy and I don't let you in. And if I don't like the cut of your jib, I don't let you in. But I got to know who's at that party since I share stuff that's private, personal to me. But Twitter at this point, I've given up the ghost and I'm letting everybody in. Anyway, we'll see you soon later on this week. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, which pretty much is the most worthless thing that anybody could have ever said. And we'll see you soon. Look what you made me do!